Hi everyone, it's Alexandra and I am back with another video. It has been way too long since I last updated. It's been 2 weeks or so and it feels like an eternity. The month of September has been just hectic and crazy and it was stressful, but I'm happy to say that this past week it's gotten a little better. Just adjusting and being back at work and teaching a completely different grade level and just getting back into the swing of things. But in my last YouTube video, I had asked all of you to post any questions that you had regarding bullet journaling because I wanted to do a Q&A for you guys. And I also followed that up with an Instagram post where some of you sent me questions. So today I'm going to answer some of the questions that you sent. I am by no means a bullet journaling expert, but I've really in the past 6 months have kind of come up with some ways to, I think, make my spreads better and to fit my style, and it makes me just so happy that you guys have responded to that, and I'm just so happy to do all this for you. So I'm going to start with the first question that I got from Bujo Sprout on Instagram, and she asked, why did you start bullet journaling? I really stumbled upon it, like I said, 6 months ago. I was in the middle of my maternity leave, and I'm a teacher, and I just love to plan to begin with. And I've always had a planner ever since I can remember. But I always felt some guilt whenever I had like a pre-printed planner if I skipped a day or I didn't fill it in. And there was like the sense of guilt that would kind of come over me, and I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm a perfectionist that way, and having a blank page would drive me nuts. And you kind of lost the motivation not to go back and fill it in, because then if one day became 2 days or 3 days, it just became harder for me to stay motivated and actually want to go back and fill it in. In addition to that, I love making my planners pretty, as you guys know, and the stickers and stuff were getting a little expensive, I'm not gonna lie. And because I wasn't working at the time, I was like, okay, this is just becoming too expensive of a hobby that I would have liked. So as I was going through my Instagram back in March, all of a sudden like bullet journaling started popping up here and there, and it really intrigued me because I loved the idea of just putting pen to paper and making, your own spreads, and it made me more invested in my book, in my journal, because it was mine. I was making the pages, I was bringing them to life, and there was just something so powerful about putting pen to paper and making it your own. And so I fell in love with it, so much so that obviously I started this channel and I did my blog at Alexandra Plans, and it's just something that has really evolved into something that I never thought it would evolve into, and for that I'm forever grateful. It's kept me productive, it's kept me creative, it's something that I really now couldn't imagine my life without. And I've just stumbled upon a beautiful, wonderful community of fellow bullet journalists that are just so inspiring. Which brings me to my next question that was asked by Happy Dees. I hope I'm saying it right. But she asked, where did you get your inspiration? First thing, the bullet journal community on Instagram, I think, is my #1 source. It's amazing how many different styles there are, with minimalist, or if you're really, really artsy and you're doodling and you're making these beautiful pages. I'm just so inspired by everybody in the bullet journal community, especially on Instagram. Pinterest, I venture in, and I'll pick up a few ideas, but not so much. But Instagram, I think, is my #1 source. And I'll find spreads that I like and I'll tweak them to fit my own needs, and it's just a beautiful thing. Second thing lately, and I've mentioned this in the past couple of videos that I've done, is washi tape. Love washi tape, love that it provides instant inspiration and an instant color scheme for a week, and it's really proven to be, I think, my source lately of just colors, and it dictates how the rest of the week will look like. So the next question comes from Bujo Fun, and she asks, do you prefer daily or weekly spreads? It all depends on what's going on any particular week. Now that I'm back at work, I find that weekly spreads just suit me better because I have everything drawn out. So usually, like for example, this weekend I will draw out my spread for next week, excuse me, and I'll have everything already drawn out, so it's just easy for me to just plug in different events or things or tasks that I have going on. So in that way, I really it just works for me. When I was at home and I had a little more time, the dailies, I could really just kind of sit down and think and and write down as I went. But for me, the weeklies right now really work better for me. And it just depends on like what I'm inspired by, and if I want to try a different layout, and it happens to be a daily versus a weekly, then that kind of plays a role in what I do. But now that I'm back at work, the weeklies for sure, because it's just everything's already pre-drawn out, and I just put in stuff as I go. Okay. Then Meredith Emma W from Instagram asks, what is your all-time favorite page or spread that you have done in terms of aesthetics and style? It's so hard to choose, but one I think that I have to be really, really proud of, I think, is this spread that I did back in May, where I was inspired by a Mother's Day card that my husband had gotten, and it's all like, you know, lanterns and cherry blossoms and stuff. Was it the most functional spread? Probably not at all. But I just really loved that I was able to bring it to life and make it my own and interpret it. And I mean, it really spoke to that moment and what I was, you know, doing at the time and what I was inspired by. And that's why I love the bullet journal so much. And so I think this is probably the one that I'm most proud of. I mean, as far as really being really artistic and just kind of going by, you know, I looked at the card, I did it the best I could, and it's something that I'm really, really proud of. So I think that would have to be one that I like the most. What is your most functional, productive page and your best writing pen? This was asked by Jaeas, Jaeas, okay? So most functional, productive page would have to be my meal planning, hands down. My meal planning in conjunction with my grocery list. So my master grocery list, every time I go food shopping, I look at what I have to buy. Then I have my little post-it notes. You've seen this in a couple of my videos, and I will meal plan. So these are all meals, and I will switch them out depending on what I'm cooking that week. And I have my grocery list. I usually take a paper from the Target Dollar Spot notepad that I have, and I'll put it in here. And this, hands down, is my most functional spread. I use it every week. It really serves me well. And again, I've found that with my style, I love color. I love, you know, the little doodles and stuff, but I love function. It needs to be functional. And so for that, I just love that spread the most. That and my savings tracker lately. Now that I'm back at work, if you didn't see a week or two ago, I had put up on Instagram, I had done a savings tracker with like a little mason jar, and this is really getting me motivated to really save money. And it's just going to be so beautiful when the mason jar is all filled up with water and I save and I reach my goal. But it's really keeping me motivated, and there's just something so satisfying of just crossing something off, or just, you know, shading it in. So I'm really excited to use this too. Function and motivation, and I think that's what the bullet journal does. And with that, the best writing pen, I would have to say, is I keep going back and forth on this. I had a moment where I loved the Faber-Castells. Now I've kind of, you know, I'll use them, but they're not my favorite. And I always feel like I go back to the Pigma Micron pens, because not only do they write smoother, I think, than the Faber-Castell, but they're also really good for drawing and doodling. So that, I think, is my best writing pen as of now. It's been that for the past 6 months, but I keep going back and forth, but I always find myself going back to that. Okay, and the last question comes from Suzanne on YouTube. Hi, Suzanne. She asks, have you studied art, or does this all come naturally to you? Aside from art classes that I took in like middle school and high school, I was artist of the month in middle school, but you know, so I guess I've always had an artistic eye, but I was never formally trained. This is all stuff that, you know, I see and then I'll try and mimic. But yeah, I've never studied art, you know, in college or anything like that. It's just something that I just love and I'm pretty good at. So I'd like to say, and it's always a work in progress. I'm always trying to constantly improve, but yeah, I've always had an eye for color, and I think what goes together well. So that is it. I would like to thank you guys for all submitting your questions. I wish I could answer them all, but I'd be here all day. But I really appreciate you guys submitting your questions, and I am going to make a very conscious effort to really post as often as I did, trying to do the once a week thing. I do want to get a 1 month update to you guys soon for the teacher bullet journal, as well as my setup for October. Isn't it crazy we're going into October? But aside from that, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe already if you haven't, and please check me out at alexandraplans.com and follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff. And until next time, bye.